Oh, yeah. Thank you, Bad Mary, for that too sweet play-in. Welcome all you four-color funny book aficionados. This is U.S. Comics Cast, HQ for all things comic book related. I'm Jon Rivera, the salty CEO and co-founder of U.S. Comics.
And that makes me the pepper of this beautiful rap group. I am your co-host. I am your co-founder. I am your COO. And I am some random nickname I borrowed from a wrestler. So I'm 10 from the Dark Order. This week, it is Wednesday.
Bad, baby.
You know, that means happy comic book day, my beloved brother. How goes it, my friend?
Happy comic book day to you, Charlie boy. And all I gotta say is that if I am salty, that would have to make you not pepper, but that would have to make you spice. The spice must flow, baby. And the spice is flowing everywhere with both the theatrical and on your ass couch HBO Max streaming version of motherfucking Frank Herbert's Dune.
Fuck
Dune.
yes,
Dune.
I'm gonna fucking leave no room for this to become a 2-hour episode, and I'm gonna jump right in. Hot damn, I loved Dune.
Yeah, man.
What are your initial thoughts, my friend?
I mean, thumbs up, thumbs down, be damned, because I also
give a couple of these. I'll give
I
10
also
fingers up.
Absolutely loved motherfucking Dune.
So now
I love the novel. I loved the somewhat cheesy 80s version. I liked the miniseries version. I mean, I just love the material. But in terms of an adaptation, honestly, even if this is tough, If I had no knowledge of the book, of the original, of the miniseries, I would venture to say that I would also have loved this fucking movie. But that's regardless of the fact I fucking loved it.
It's super interesting you brought that up because I'm glad we got there.
I'm a super interesting guy.
So speedy because one friend of the show, colorist, one of our colorists for U.S. Comics proper, Ellis, I did read his review that he threw up on Facebook. He was very excited for us to get to our review today, which I always appreciate the comments. We are live across Twitch, Facebook, and the YouTube, so please let us know as you're going. Yell at us, and we'll respond to all of it. Ellis posed an interesting point in his review. He goes, I believe, and Ellis will correct me in the comments, I'm sure, or change his mind in the comments, because that slippery son of a bitch likes to do that too.
Sure.
He said something along the lines of he liked it, but he wasn't sure if an uneducated, frankly, a dullard to at this point in the world,
a simpleton,
not have seen or read Dune. Luckily for you people, not the champ is here, but the simpleton is here. I've never seen another iteration of Dune prior to my screening of this version. I've never read Dune. I've never seen Children of Dune. I didn't see the last miniseries. I was lucky enough, I would like to say, that this was just one of those things. I own the original Dune film. And it's just like the movie I never got to. Too busy watching Clerks the 30th time. So when I heard this was coming out, and once I saw the cast, I said, well, you're going on the shelf, original, because I want to go in raw. I want to go in and see if this shit makes any fucking sense. And not only did it make sense.
You looked at it as almost in like a clinical, like a clinical approach to it. You're like, I want to go in as an unbroken virgin.
Correct.
And see what the spice does for a brother like me.
It's not often you get to put that seal back on.
I mean,
And
not since you're like 26 was there anything virginal about you. So
and
I think we're all impressed.
this show was how I learned they were making a new Dune movie.
Huh.
This show in real time, because it was before we chatted about topics.
Yeah.
You threw in like this guy's in it, this Zendaya's in it, Tim Chalamet's in it, fucking Aquaman's in it. So it really did give
Charlie
me
with
this.
the casual first name dropping motherfucker.
It did. It allowed this really cool opportunity because that was one of the things. And don't get me wrong, I paid like extra fucking attention because I was like, don't be dumb. Don't be dumb and not
You're like,
understand shit.
I'm gonna have to answer to references that John makes incessantly, so I have to know what the fuck this motherfucker's talking about.
What's awesome though is not only did I find it easy to keep up with, and I'll get to my criticism in a second. Not only did I think it was beautiful, not only did I think it was a hell of a fucking sci-fi meal, it was a sci-fi meal. This is that deep sci-fi where I'm like, oh, keep saying names of shit that ain't real. Nom. I thought the actual story itself was very easy to follow.
Well,
Like the concept I've seen, because clearly people have borrowed from it, but also it's like these people were running Spice, they got kicked out, and these new guys are getting fucked. Don't you want to see it? I'm like, I do want to see. What's up with those magic shields?
If I can just pump your brakes a little bit because I
Please
feel like you are going to run away into the night.
I'm high on Spice right now.
I see
shit's
that.
about
Yeah,
to turn blue.
I see what's going on. Your eyes are a little bluish. The reason why there's a familiarity to a lot of this material for anyone, whether they have seen the other iterations, whether they've read the books, whether they've even spoken to an uber nerd like myself about it for more than 5 minutes, is just like you mentioned. You know, we kind of barreled through it, but the fact of the matter is that just like anything creative in history, if it's successful, if it resonates, if it lands in any capacity, like Lord knows Dune by Frank Herbert landed, it's going to be borrowed from. I've said it before here, and see, people have put me to task. So one of these days, it's going to be my topic. There are only 7 basic plots in all of storytelling. A gentleman far more intelligent than me spent 35 years compiling the evidence. So certainly I am not going to doubt the brother. But that all being said, Dune, much like something that came well before it, but I'm often referencing here, John Carter of Mars, that has been borrowed from incessantly by none other than a certain bearded motherfucker that we're going to be referring to that Ellis loves, George Lucas. So Dune has been borrowed from liberally for a lot of this content that we've been getting that's been labeled as new. So without question, it's going to seem familiar to even the uninitiated like Charlie.
Made it so digestible. And so what I did was I made myself an at-home trilogy of Dune because I did not go into the world to see it, despite wanting to. I definitely want to see it on a giant IMAX screen, but
Absolutely,
I did watch it at home. What I did was I made up for not having an IMAX screen at home. I just stood right in front of my television, and I just oohed and awed.
Your vision is not going to get worse at this point. Let's ship has sailed.
But I watched this Dune, then I watched the original film Dune, then I watched this Dune again. Yeah. And,
you made a little sandwich.
It was very funny because when I was watching
sandy sandwich,
delicious. When I was watching the classic, at first my thought was like, this narration is helping. Then I rewatched the new one, and I was like, I didn't need any of that fucking narration.
Straight from the book, by the way.
Yeah,
the miniseries and the original movie did the same thing. They lifted it.
Cannot wait to read it.
Yeah.
With that being said,
even the pages are blue in this motherfucker.
Awesome. With that being said, it was one of those things. My opinion ebbed and flowed a lot. The one bit of criticism to throw it out relatively out the gate. This fucking movie.
I'm happy to tell you why you're wrong about this criticism, but please go ahead.
I don't think you will. If they
I will.
If they wound up not getting the go ahead for Dune 2.
Yeah.
This fucking movie just goddamn stops. I pulled The Sopranos. I'm like, my HBO, I lost my subscription. That fucking movie just ends.
It okay, so I quasi cheated and had a little bit of this conversation elsewhere. Let me ask you a
You
question.
cheated on me on my own show. I'm not having a bad
Sorry,
enough
bro.
life right now.
It's not you, it's me.
I don't think that's
You
true.
could do better. I'm going through some stuff right now. All of those. Let me ask you a question. How did you feel about the ending of Empire? Empire Strikes Back, obviously, to the dum dums
Empire
out
was
there.
a beautiful downer ending, but it was an ending.
I mean,
This movie,
it was an ending in that the movie stopped and the credits rolled.
John, this was beyond an Empire level stoppage.
No, it completely wasn't. Let me ask you this, and this is another commentary that somebody made. I really liked it, but it should have been a. Don't ask why Ellis knows that the fact regarding Charlie's
Ellis and I have been
premature
friends a long
ending.
time, and we don't pay him that well for his work, so we
So
have to subsidize it.
let me say this, and this is something that happens that it goes against my grain. Charlie feels he loved the movie. He has all these wonderful things to say about it. He's like, but push my glasses up on my nose. But it kind of ending. Yeah, John G knows what it is. Look at this, John G up in the house. Ellis, cousin Paul up in the house. I'm loving it. Yeah, John G, I damn agreed with you on two accounts. I felt like the fuck. There's that's it. There's not more. I'm sitting here. Little goofy me is here in my short pants. I got my popcorn still. I'm ready for some more Star Wars heavy action. What do you mean this is over?
You're full of
Especially
shit that you still have popcorn left.
for where it stopped in the action. But that's not the debate. So before you and Ellis go crazy on me, that's not the ultimate point. The bigger point was somebody contributed. Oh, it should have just been a series. And
Shut
the
up.
ending.
I hate that.
Hold on a second. If it had ended like that as a series, then you know you're going into season 2 and you know now what to expect. My argument was this: because of the dumb mentality that we're all carrying, and I'm using we generously, including myself, even though I'm better than everybody else. When these things come out, you would have sat there on your couch and watched episode after episode. You would have watched the same story unfolding. The bottom line is this: the creatives behind this flick said, you know what, we're going to cut up the first book not into 2 parts, but actually, folks, into 3, because they're not planning a clear cut, in much the same way that the Game of Thrones first season was the entire first book of the Song of Ice and Fire. They're not doing it that way. They're taking this first book and they're cutting it up. I shouldn't say 3. They're cutting up into like
Slices.
2.5,
Yeah.
right? And then you're going to get the next, a little bit of the next part of the saga, as well in the anticipated 3rd movie. Because guys, you're not just watching an individual movie. So
But
that
it could have
film,
been.
hold on. This like pseudo, I watch videos on YouTube, so I know about cinematography and making movies. No, you don't. You didn't take one class. You didn't crack open one book. You don't know about making movies. And Charlie, I'm not yelling at you specifically, but a little bit. So when people sit back and like, well, as a movie, it didn't do. Shut up. This is the Dune. Hold on. Saga.
Well, but
this is a long timeline of storytelling.
Sure, but
So
don't throw me in that category.
Hold on a second. I'm not. I'm just joking around. But if I'm telling you, if I tell you the story of if I make a movie and I call it U.S. American History, and I stop at a particular, I stop at the first bullets, the first musket shots are shot in Boston, and I'm like, oh, that's it. Credits roll. Catch you next time, kids. Are people gonna come say like, well, that wasn't all of U.S. history? Yeah, no shit, motherfucker. It is a long story to tell. You can't do it in 2 hours.
But listen, here's my point. there was
Did
a
you post
reality.
Ellis's
I
comment? 'Cause
did.
That's very funny, Ellis.
There is a reality in which this was the only film. And in that regard, if this chunk of Dune was
Yeah.
all we got, you think that ending felt like an ending? I'm not talking about a satisfying ending. I'm not
So
talking about
if
that
they
there's not
didn't,
a
so
to be
your
continued.
let me just be
Sure,
clear. Your knock, which you're entitled to, and
I am, and I
that's
have
a
it.
right that I fight for as your representative for U.S. Comics. You're entitled to not like things. You're not required to love something. You're like, I liked it, I didn't love it, or I didn't love 90, I only loved 99% of it. That's entirely fine. Look, obviously everybody's entitled to their opinion. My opinion, though, is that I loved 100% of it. I loved the little moisture wicking sandy
That
mouse.
little mouse
I
motherfucker.
loved, I loved
I want
how
one.
they goddamn Bruce the sharked my sandworm action, because every time you're like, ooh, your butthole tightened up. My butthole tightened up, Charlie, like it was the goddamn Sarlacc itself, waiting for Beetlejuice's sandworms to come burst into the sands. And he was like, like Nedry on the computer screen in Jurassic Park, finger wag, finger
That
wag, finger wag.
that big
They
moment. Ooh,
fucking approached this. I as much as I anticipated this flick, I could not have been happier with what I got. I fucking loved it. I
I mean,
loved it
and
all.
that ultimately, you and I have the identical review in that context.
I
I have a
loved it,
new
man. I
thing,
loved it.
and I can't. The one thing I will say I'm super disappointed in is that you didn't get to learn you have a new thing to love this week. Because I sat down and I was just like, I love you, dude. I was
I
such a
gotcha.
Dune cuck. I'm like, his eyes are blue. He's on the spice. Oh, shit. Oh, the voice. Oh, shit. Oh,
How
the
about
sweet armor.
that first realization when homeboy is blind, is he got the Stevie Wonder eyes before he took off, and then when you get there he's like, hey, so you're from like 200 yards away, brother, this spice shit is nice. How about the fact that for anyone again who is uninitiated like Charlie was in the world of Dune, this isn't and again I'm speaking to Ellis's point also regarding like Star Wars and the exoticness of Star Wars, where anytime something pops up in Star Wars that's even somewhat familiar prior to other Star Wars movies, you're like, hey, that's a fucking ice cream maker, or what, whatever the case might be. This is supposed to be our future.
Yeah.
So this is us in very much the same vein as Star Trek is us. It's supposed to be us.
Well,
Just
not
let's
us.
now
There's not
fast
a lot of
forward.
Puerto Ricans in space in Star Trek.
I mean, look, can you really blame the guy? Well, what are you gonna do? Very often they don't show the mess halls and the Star Trek ships because they got that fucking like that whipper upperizer that they just make whatever. So there's really no need for us in space. But that all being said, this is fucking us. And what's really wonderful, never mind all of the thematic and contextual stuff that has been borrowed from Dune in other sci-fi properties. Put that all aside, and I'm going to tell you, Charlie, that just the sheer nature of what's going on in this story is going to resonate. It's in our bones. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, so a centralized power or authority who really gets its power and gets its income rather from like it's almost like medieval in its setup. So like, okay, so you're getting it from your royal families, and guess where they're getting their income from? The little people. So yeah, like the folks upstairs, they're getting, stop looking at Paul's comment and pay attention to me.
Very funny.
They're getting their income from us's out there. So you're like, yeah, no, I totally get that. And the imperial of it all is determining, okay, well, this particular house is in favor, this particular house is not. I'm gonna have a little side deal action under the table. What's going on? strokey, strokey. Everybody's happy, right? Oh no, you're dead now. Cool, cool, cool. All the subterfuge, all of the political jockeying for position, that's all there. And even though this is all taking place in a futuristic environment, it's very familiar to us because we see it now in 2021. We saw it in the early 1900s. We saw it in the history that we were taught in school that we've already fucking forgotten. It is the natural human condition. This damn book was written in 1965. How is it that in 1965, all of the political jockeying for position, like I mentioned before, is still fucking is still relevant right now? That's fucking insane. So
Yeah.
rather than like arguing where in the storyline it should have cut off, to my point of view, look, unless you wanted to have a 3-hour movie, which people would have automatically been complaining about, they cut it off.
Snyder cut a Dune.
Spoiler alert. They cut it off where now he is going to be basically enveloped in this new group of people who we only really were introduced to in this movie just like almost by reputation. Never mind the fact that in essence Paul's superpowers are only just now coming to approaching their super saiyan form where he can really fucking throw down. A lot of people, and probably including yourself, don't even know what the fuck is going on
Well,
with his visions,
now that I've
with
seen
his
the
dreams.
original movie,
Are they dreams? Are they memories? Are they visions? Is he anticipating what's going on? Does he already know this place? How the fuck is Khal Drogo dead already? I love him. I hope I see him again. I got news for you folks. You're gonna see him again. I promise. There is so much meat on this fucking dusty ass spicy bone. I am just beside myself in anticipation for the next installment because Charlie, I got news for you, motherfucker. Part 2 has been already greenlit. Don't worry about where the movie cut off. I know you're disappointed because you want a more heavy Dune action. You're gonna get it. Dune Part 2 is on its way to you.
and that is a fucking fact because we don't lie on this show. We don't
Damn
bullshit
straight.
on this show. Unlike the man who may or may not try to take Ellis's show off of YouTube when his fan film goes up. Lucas may take that sumbitch down, even though he doesn't own shit. Because
Ellis,
why, John?
we got your back, brother. We got your back.
Why, John? Why? You tell me.
Because George Lucas is a Dune stealing, mother sucking liar. Han shot first. Clink. Salud.
Oh, no. That was a mistake.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Gulp it down.
So all I have to say is before we move, oh, that's just mean. I am going to throw that out there. Ellis says you and George Lucas have the same haircut.
We do.
Certainly
We
the same
do.
hair color, not the same sized bank account, despite your best efforts. Although maybe we can bring George Lucas into the
Cold-blooded
fold
shit.
for Paul and Ellis's next fan film, which is Spix. We're Spix in space. We're going around defeating the evil race.
Look, Mel Brooks
Spix.
is currently
Spix.
working on History of the World Part 2 with a U.S. Comics favorite, Nick Kroll and company. So, look, I think Spix in Space is very real possibility
At
for
bare
the
minimum,
new venture.
I need that shirt now. I need to know what they can still use star-shaped ships. They just need a couple lines sticking out the front, like the OG Millennium Falcon. I gotta ask you though, lots of space talk.
Sure.
I mean, Dune, it's apropos. But did you see someone snagged his big boy pants, looked at his action figure, and said, "I don't give a fuck about this little kid. I don't give a fuck about Spoonie. I don't give a fuck about Woody."
Charlie is fucking shitting on Andy right now
I
hard.
got shit to do. Did you see the fucking trailer today for Lightyear?
You know what?
Are you jacking my D? I do want to show a little bit of it to those of you that are watching. The rest of you will kind of narrate. I did make it very grainy. I did flip it because I do not want the internet to
Are you
yell
gonna
at us.
show it? Nice.
I am going to show it. let's go ahead and take a look at Lightyear.
Status. Booster. Go flight. GNC. Go. Vital. Go. Guide. Go flight.
Look
So
at this.
I had no idea this was coming. This looks like Starship Troopers.
Let me tell you, are you claiming that you made this, Brainy?
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of reverse technology Charlie is running with over there, but that Commodore 64 is working overtime.
You are welcome. This
In backwards 2022.
Right out the gate, dude. I love the character design. This music, I feel like, yo, what the fuck? Let's do this, Buzz!
Yeah, this is gonna make an Andy out of all of us.
Yeah. I mean, this is gonna move
As
merch.
the titular character does the slingshot maneuver around the sun. I gotta believe that Bezos is paying attention. He's like, I could do this.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like
Got a little,
Dagobah.
got a little Dagobah action.
I lowered it a little bit more because I don't want the song getting us in trouble. But
Yeah,
this
way to go,
looks,
Charlie.
This looks goddamn intense.
Yeah, there's a little Wally action on the design there. Love it. See a purple cowl, which you gotta love automatically.
I mean, the girls and the guys were losing their minds today over his hair. Ah, the fucking Buzz Lightyear suit.
Oh, baby.
Ah.
Ellis,
I had
I'm going to
no-
write to Santa right now. I'm going to acquire you a toy of
Done.
that spaceship.
Dude,
It's gonna happen.
I literally was one of those things that I didn't know about the project. It's the pandemic era. Charlie has been the most disconnected from online, so I didn't hear like fucking what is that? Chris Evans is gonna play Buzz Goddamn Lightyear,
AKA Mario.
aka well, no, that's Chris Pratt. Chris Evans is Captain America. Chris Pratt is
Chris
Star-Lord.
Evans is.
The Chris's.
Oh, I got you.
And Chris Hemsworth almost ruined Ghostbusters. That's all
I
the
gotcha.
Chris's that are famous.
There's all the Chris's going on right now. It's Chris Evans is playing him. Okay.
Dude, fucking Pixar. You can't sleep on Pixar. Because the minute you turn your back from them, you're like, oh, they're doing another Cars? Whatever. The minute you turn their back, they're like, how about like a super realistic, gritty, dope-ass Buzz Lightyear movie? Honestly, Ellis threw it in the comments, so I'll give him credit. But my thought was like, we're fucking getting Unforgiven 2 starring Woody next. Be like, there's a snake in my boot, motherfucker. Like, it's gonna be like Quentin Tarantino's last film is gonna be Woody fucking beating up Doc Holliday.
I'm pretty sure that I've already counted for his last movie, but you know what? I got no problem with it if that ends up replacing it.
The character design, the tone of that trailer, so goddamn hyped. But the thing I was most blown away by was what a huge departure from the source material. Because there was apparently a cartoon I learned today that was like as if it was his real stories.
Buzz Lightyear and the Rangers, Space Rangers.
Yeah. And it was like, these are stories. And this was like, fuck that. We don't care about ABC television.
I got one better for you, Charlie.
Hit me.
I thought it didn't go any further than like the fucking than the shoot 'em up ride that they have down in Gator Central. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So they had the cartoon, which kind of like expanded upon the Buzz Lightyear property. But it's really important to keep in mind his appearance in Toy Story. He's called Buzz Lightyear, but he's a fucking toy of that character. He's not the character, and obviously the cartoon gave it to us. Charlie, we lost your audio. We're talking about the actual person that was a toy of.
Well, what I love,
I'm glad that it has a very, very different feel to it. That's only proper.
I really love the idea. Someone on like the comment section was like, fucking Disney never uses the real actor's voice in toys anyway. This is bullshit. Like, I'm like, that's beautiful. Like, what a funny
that's really
nerd
funny. Because
comment.
Honestly, I caught two waves of this trailer reaction. There were people like, oh shit, did you see this? Check it out. It was so great. And then you had the inevitable, as Mel Brooks, the god among comedy writers, said the inevitable afterbirth, the critic, and then
Oh.
just right behind them, like you are in an empty
Miserable
cabinet's room. You're
pricks.
like, "Hello, fuck you, you suck." Like the echo that came automatically was like a, "Meh, what about Tim? Blah 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 blah."
Fuck Tim.
And
How about that?
it was so
Fuck yourself.
fucking fast. It was so fast to the point where, and this is what I teased earlier when you and I were talking about it off air. Um, I loved Tool Time.
Yeah.
Not Tool Time. Fucking
Home
what's this?
Improvement.
Whatever the Home Improvement. I watched
You
it
love the
regularly.
show within a show?
I did love it.
Like, I
Dude,
only watch the Tool
Did
Time
you
segment.
did you see his assistants? Yeah, I did love the show within a show. Goddamn right.
Touche.
And I even thought it was a little cutesy when they would work in like a Binford Tools bit here and there in the Toy Story movies. The Toy Story movies, I don't care how old you are, I don't care how tough and cool you are. Those are great fucking movies. It doesn't matter that they're animated. They're just great movies. But and Buzz Lightyear as a character is one of, if not my singular favorite Disney character.
He's glorious.
He's fucking awesome. He's
Tries
so much
to get
fun.
laid right away. I get
He
this guy.
can fucking break it down Latin style way better than myself or my basically a white guy brother Charlie could even dream of doing. He's got that Latin flavor. Ooh, all it took was a flick of the switch on his back.
That's
But
the part of that
that
shit they
being
never
said-
show. His girl just constantly like click.
Honestly, if they had the same voice of the toy, I'm like, this is the dumbest shit. It honestly would have taken me out of it.
It
I'm like,
immediately
I can't sit and watch this, regardless of the fact that it's animated. I watch animated shit all the time, and I'm a full-grown man. It would have taken me out of the separation that you needed. This is where the pseudo fake I watch YouTube videos, so I know what I'm talking about. This is where I'm gonna allow it
Alice!
because I'm saying it. I'm saying it this time. That was a requirement where you're like, this is not a Toy Story story. This is Buzz fucking Lightyear, motherfucker. This is why Buzz Lightyear toys existed, and you know, to be rolled into this thing that we're calling Toy Story.
and
So you needed the separation there. It couldn't be the same fucking actor.
I
Couldn't.
suspect it would have caused a version of the Uncanny Valley. If you're hearing Buzz Lightyear, if he's doing Buzz Lightyear shit, but he doesn't look like the Buzz Lightyear you associate with that voice, I genuinely suspect it happened to me a few times with the Marvel What If series. When the voice actor was not the actual actor, I was like, what's wrong with Drax? And it took me like a little bit to ease back in. And those episodes didn't straight up star.
And to make it worse, when Drax stopped moving, you're like, I don't even see him now.
He's
What's
invisible
going
and
on?
I don't understand him.
What's
Ah,
going
God.
on? It's magic.
What it did though was it opened up Pandora's box for me, because earlier in the week there were grumblings about franchises taking big steps in other directions. So that's the other thing I wanted to talk to you about. Not Buzz Lightyear notwithstanding,
Yeah.
taking these characters that we know and love and getting to do something totally different. This is not going to be anything like Toy Story. There might be toys in it, but I kind of doubt it. Maybe he'll have a Captain America action figure in a ship, cross promotion. But
Don't do it.
they were
Disney,
the other
son
big
of a
thing
bitch.
that they were talking about was doing a horror movie in the Star Wars universe. And someone brought up the fact that like every Star Wars movie so far has been pretty heavily connected to the Skywalker saga. Obviously, the major point of Rogue One is saga it up.
Yeah, it's a
Mando,
prequel to
Luke
New Hope.
Luke shows up. Han is the closest thing to something that's separated from the direct saga, but obviously he's a character from the saga. So
Oh, I wouldn't say that, especially now considering the Crimson fucking Dawn has become so relevant in the expanded storytelling, which is canon. No, I think the Han Solo flick absolutely does. It's a great question, bro. Like they're what they have done, like the spinning off of the original. It it can't be such a departure
Yeah.
from what it originally started
Buzz
as to
Lightyear,
become
pharmacist.
unrecognizable, because then like you're in essence you're wasting content. Like you could have done that with like this movie could have been an animated astronaut movie or like Space Force
Yeah.
movie, like, and you could have called these characters anything else that you wanted to, if there was not going to have a relevancy to like, like kind of tugging our heartstrings. I remember like those member berries were just no, 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 just sucking them down right and left like they were going out of style, or they had an expiration date. No, I think that's a very important fucking reason. And to speak to your point, um, wasn't it fucking God damn it, Mike Flanagan was saying, is that the adaptation that you're referring to? Mike Flanagan, who does a lot of the lot of the series, the horror Halloween time series that we see on Netflix. He was the one. He said he wanted to
Yep.
make a Star Wars horror movie, which I would fucking love. I would absolutely love it.
Yeah, I think it's you talk about because you bring up a very good point. You need those heavy connecting fibers.
Sure.
The opportunity, there are so many creepy fucking planets and such beautiful creature design. Before the show started, we were talking about HasLabs, which is Hasbro's kind of funding site where you can promise to buy something if they make it. And they made the Rancor. The Rancor is scary as fuck from Star Wars. How great would that motherfucker be in like a Jurassic Park style movie set in Star Wars? So there's like Rancors and shit running around? Yes, please. That
Oh
would
yeah,
be.
man.
Do you have, you and I have talked a lot about, with comic book movies specifically, there's so many there's so many not specifically about a superhero stories you can tell. They're doing it again with what they tried it once with the show Gotham. Originally that was supposed to be a show not about Batman, but rather about Commissioner Gordon, pre-Commissioner Gordon, and then it
Right.
kind of becomes very much a Batman show. But now on
Kind of
HBO
inevitable.
Max, they're trying GCPD again with another bite of the apple, which was an amazing comic series in its own right. But clearly in the Batman universe, and a cop show set in DC makes total sense. A horror film set
Oh, Gotham is like Gotham. Gotham's gonna have crime stories for fucking days. So that's
exactly
just like
right.
that's a natural fit. I've got one for you, Charlie.
Hit me.
Like just to keep it within the horror realm, and obviously comic book dumb, which is our bread and butter. Fucking New Mutants.
Yeah.
We just saw it, and obviously there was a delay and was not well received. Myself included. I
Or
was
that
not a big
enjoyable for
fan.
us.
I was not a fan of the New Mutants movie,
Yeah, but John,
though I
she's
am a
a
fan.
bear though, bro.
Anna
Yeah.
Taylor-Joy can do very little wrong, but that she had to lay the king down on that one, boy.
If I
Um,
watch New Mutants before I watch A Night in Soho, I'm gonna be like, kill the bitch! Get her!
that's rough,
Give
dude.
a fuck about her little dragon friend.
Damn. You're
Bring
like,
those big
I'm
eyes
not.
over. Do a better
I'm,
roll.
I'm gonna drown. I'm gonna drag her doppelganger down with her. She's upstairs. She's in the wall. Go get her. Damn, Charlie got real fucking. Charlie got real dark real quick. But yeah. So obviously, again, in the comic book movie world, New Mutants was, at least it was by its original intention. What we ended up getting was like a hybrid, like a half measure attempt, which I think had a lot to do with its failings,
Yeah.
in terms of my liking it.
That
Because
it didn't go
who am I
all
to
in.
say good or bad? That it was half measures,
That's
right?
another
So it was
one
like,
that allegedly.
do it or don't do it.
Yeah, allegedly it was the original intent was that
A
full
horror
blown
movie.
horror film.
Yeah.
Is there one that speaks to, like, that's on the tip of your mind? Because for me, as much as I love the original Wesley Snipes led Blade trilogy, and I really do love all three for wildly different reasons, rather.
Right.
But that first Blade movie was, it's one of my favorite motherfucking vampire movies. Like, because it predated all the superhero stereotypes, it really was able to cultivate this very cool world that was very vampire centric. And one of my big hopes for the next Blade feature is that I hope they do kind of their best to have it feel less like a superhero movie and more like a vampire movie, because
You're
that
talking about
world lends.
the new Blade that's coming out with
Correct.
Mahershala Ali. Okay.
Correct. And I'm really hoping that they allow that film to be as creepy as it deserves. Because the Tales of Dracula, is that where Blade originates from? I believe it is. I could be the
I
Tomb
think
of
yeah,
Dracula.
that resonates.
It's something like
Tomb,
it's something of Dracula. I think Tomb of
yeah.
Dracula. But those books again owed the original before Blade shows up just fucking cool vampire stories. So I hope Mashallah Ali gets the opportunity to kind of do a very
Mahershala Ali. Yeah.
thank you to do a very different type of Marvel movie. But is there one either in production that we know about, or one just in the back of your mind
Well,
that you're like, I hope
like kissing cousins with Blade, fucking Morbius.
little hand suckers? That
Listen, man,
movie looks
whatever
like it's
gets
going to
it
be
done,
creepy
bro.
and
Whatever
dumb.
gets it done.
But
The
originally I thought
character
that's
is the character though, so that's the thing. Also, like you can't, or you can, I guess, but to go in to say, okay, well, this is the intellectual property as it's constituted. You're gonna be allowed to take certain liberties, like Spider-Man. We'll just use Spider-Man because Spider-Man has been adapted and adapted and adapted. And yeah, you know what? We've gotten biological web shooters. We have gotten mechanical web shooters. You know what we have never gotten on the big screen?
booty web shooter. Oh, we haven't got.
Little web wings. Now we've
Doesn't he
gotten
bust them
them
out
on
for
the
a minute?
tech, in the tech capacity, but I'm talking about like 24/7. This is what the costume looks like. You got little webby wings. Now it doesn't take a science genius to say, well, a spider web, even something that's an artificial spider web, just the fact that it has damn holes make up the vast majority of its surface area means that it would probably not help you fly very well. Peter Parker, I know you're a science brilliant little dude. You wear glasses. Obviously, you must be smart. But that's not how wings work, my little buddy. That was just an aesthetic choice.
Yeah, I
when they
love the
drew
idea of
character,
like
man.
when I get my turn with Spider-Man, because I feel like everyone gets one in the next 80 years. We all get
All
to
right.
kill poor Uncle Ben and honor him in rice. Next time they have him sewing, I just want him sewing on like lanolin, like some soft, like this looks like little webbies.
Like cheap wool.
Exactly.
And you know what? To speak to your point also, and I think that horror is like as is well, comic books. I mean, the reason for the comics code that we all know and love
Because
hate.
of boobies.
No, it was because of horror comics.
Just kidding.
Fucking decapitated women's heads and axings and stuff like that. These were horror comics. They were comic books in terms of their construction, the cheap little, the crappy paper, the ink dots that made up what you were looking at. There's a name for them, but it escapes me. The bottom line is though that horror comic books were very much a huge thing, and there was a point in time where superheroes didn't really take up the pages of comic books very often, and certainly nothing comic.
Like,
they were horror books.
Yeah.
So I think that transition into horror movies from comic book properties is kind of a natural one, because the one that immediately comes up to mind was the goddamn John Wick Constantine movie, which I thoroughly enjoyed. The bejesus
I love that
out
you just
of.
called it the John Wick Constantine movie, as if
I like
John
to
Wick was
speak-
like, I dabbled in acting.
I like to speak to. That's the one thing John Wick really has yet to dabble in, and I love you, Kanunu. Acting is not the top of that resume, my
If
friend.
John Wick were to become an actor, he would star in a remake of 101 Dalmatians. That would be way different. He'd kill
Every
that bitch in the
one
first act.
of John Wick starring movies would be a remake of some other boy and his dog
Just
movies.
Balto. Just
Old
him rolling around with
Yellow,
Balto. What's the movie where the two dogs share the spaghetti and kiss?
Lady and the Tramp.
Lady the Tramp 2, it would just be a three-way fucking spaghetti. He's just getting close with the pups.
They're doing the spaghetti, and then like Keanu Reeves noses the meatball with his nose. He's like, dude, it could happen. I
But
could
then
see it
also
happening.
a bunch of Yakuza come around the corner and he fucking gun katas the
Oh, no
shit out
doubt.
of them.
But they're coming out of they're coming out of the kitchen of the restaurant, and they've got like the cleavers and the fucking things. It'll be fun. It'll be great. I can see that happening right now.
I do want to kick this out into the universe. I'm very, very curious what people out there really, really want to see. I think we're set potentially for a big epic sort of film with Eternals. A lot of people got the same notes for their early reviews. Everyone's calling it dense. But looking at something like Dune, you could really, not necessarily with the Guardians of the Galaxy, because those have a very specific tone, but if you were to do another space group, Marvel's notorious for their kind of space people, you really could do a very dense sci-fi. Or you look at something like the Green Lantern Corps, you could do an army type film, a war movie in space, and you don't need Hal or Kyle or John Stewart. You certainly don't need Bowl Cut. There is a lot of great
Kyle
opportunities.
Ranello.
There's a lot of great opportunities to do something very, very interesting
Well,
with these properties that don't necessarily have to live and die.
I do have
by
to
what
say
we're
this,
expecting.
and this is something that often occurs to me when our conversations skew towards the Marvel side of the line. Marvel movies, I think, and this is not the U.S. comics opinion. This is John's specific. Well, actually, thank you, Ellis. That was exactly the point that I was about
Brilliant
to speak
fucking
to.
point.
Charlie likes to bury the lead. That's kind of his job here. The Marvel comics has seen consistent success up to the upcoming Eternals flick, which Charlie alluded to, has not gotten the critical acclaim that Marvel movies are used to. And I would venture to say is that unlike any of the other movies before, and shockingly similar to some of the lesser well received by critics Marvel movies up till now, it has taken the biggest departure from that that initial Marvel blueprint that was established with Iron Man of action comedy. Not action movie, certainly not comic book movie, because that definition of the term has been thrown out the window because they're so vastly different now. But like Ellis referenced, they're action comedies. 48 Hours was an action comedy. Rambo was an action movie. There's a very, very big distinction. And Marvel movies, with very, very, very few exceptions, I can think of 2, maybe 3, are action comedy flicks. They just happen to star people who we know from Four Color Funny Books. Now, if and we've all seen the same trailers. Not a lot of comedic moments. Matter of fact, the one moment that really stood out, that really bared mentioning, was when fucking Superman was referenced.
Yeah, which
I was like, "Burr?"
Doubt that shit's going to be in the final cut.
John Sarlacc butthole moment. I'm like, Superman? Did he just say Superman? And
that's the after credit scene Marvel did by DC. Clark shows up and he's like, "You don't wear a cape because you can't pull off a cape."
The distinguished competition has something to say about that. But yeah, I think that's very much the point. Those movies have a DNA construct that makes them action comedies. And you know what? Ultimately, whether it was as kids when we first picked up comic books, or if it was as an adult, or like, approaching adulthood individual who saw these characters, met these characters on the small screen or the big screen, they're fun,
Yeah.
right? They're fun. You don't pop on an Avengers flick, with, again, very very few exceptions, to sit down and be like, have a scowl on your face and be like, this is political commentary and this is really going to make me think. And at Thanksgiving, I'm going to make a couple of points that I saw on Captain Marvel or goddamn whatever. That's not what these flicks are. That's not what they're for. They're they're fun. They're
Yeah.
a departure from the everyday nonsense and hullabaloo. It's so that if you're having a shitty day, you pop on one of these flicks, and you know what, and then you smile, and then you have a good time,
Yeah.
and you have a couple of laughs, and the fighting scenes are there in between the jokes, and everybody goes home happy. And if Turtles is not that, that doesn't make it a bad comic book movie. It certainly doesn't make it a bad Marvel movie. It's just different.
I just hope that I hope you're hitting the nail on the head, and I hope Eternals is that first departure, and I hope it
Yeah.
ushers in a new wave of when you want that action comedy. I want that still to be on the menu,
Yeah, you
but I
have
want
options.
I want there, like, if you told me there was a world where when we do get Reed and Sue, if instead of going the route of the 60s and 70s with her slapping her around, if instead you're like, hey, it's like a romantic comedy even, or if Blade winds up being this dope ass vampire movie, or if you have another bite at that horror movie in a Marvel
Marvel
universe.
and DC both, they have such a deep well of characters and stories to tell. There's no reason in the world why each of those movies can't have their own DNA makeup.
And
There's
luckily,
no reason at all. One might argue that when you bring in a talent like Taika Waititi, that you can have an individual character. You can have a group of movies like fucking Thor. What could be more different than the vibe? You're talking about spin-offs. You're just talking about a sequel at this point.
yeah,
Between Thor 2 and Thor 3, you could not have possibly been more different. Like
yeah.
a different flavor, a different attitude, a different vibe. You certainly walked out of those movies with a different feeling about you. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And you know what's great about those different flavors is that there is, when life is at its best, I think that you have a diverse set of choices. And that even extends to this podcast and our wonderful sponsors.
Like,
John,
Charlie,
why
you
don't you tell
segueing some of bitch.
why don't you tell these beautiful people about today's very first
Oof.
sponsor?
Well, look, Charlie is not just dressed like Kevin Smith's stunt double. He is spitting truth bombs like the scribe himself, because Charlie was right. Charlie was right. One of our favorite sponsors, Sergeant Finesse. You can check him out right here on Facebook Gaming. You can check him out over on the purple site like Thanos on Twitch TV. He's doing them on both multiple streams every day. Outstanding gaming content. He throws supporter games, co-streams, giveaways, contests. Don't be a sucker. Do yourself a favor. Check him out today. Throw him a like, a follow, a share. Consider becoming a supporter. But, however, also as well as, if you need to pick me up, go and follow the White Rabbit to sneakenergy.com. Use code SGT at checkout there. If you're looking for some fresh new gear, though, like I am not wearing today, go ahead over to geeksunleashed.com. Use code SARGE at checkout there. When the Sarge is on deck, it's real simple, Charlie. You salute. GG, son.
And when you're done saluting, you grab yourself your own personal hetero life mate, like I have Jay here, and you endorsed Clerks 3, which if any band was going to be added to that album, it would be one of my personal
That
favorite
needs to
bands.
happen. Especially since Charlie Fan created a Clerks themed band photo. They just put up, they did a nice band photo shoot. So I'm sure everyone's going to be seeing those new pictures up on all of Bad Mary's contest. Charlie did a beautiful job clerk-arising one of their photos. Well done.
And again, that amazing band, like John said, is Bad Mary. You can find them across all social medias. You can check out those pictures right now over on Bad Mary Band. Anywhere you can find media that is considered social. My favorite part, though, it's not that the tours are picking back up and the shows are picking back up because the world's getting safer and safer
Though they
every
are.
day. It's not that they are continuing to just drop and tease new music. It's the fact that every single track that Bad Mary has produced is available on not one, not two, not three, but all music streaming services. So right now in your pocket, where your phone lies, you can pull up any of their songs and you should listen to them on repeat because Bad Mary Band is the shiz knit. My dear brother,
It's true.
now that we've
That's me.
hugged our wonderful sponsors that unlike every other podcast on earth, we actually do. I do listen to Bad Mary. We do buy Bad Mary merch. We do watch the Sarge. We do follow the White Rabbit. We do use promo code to get merch at a discount because I love me a discount. We actually do those things.
Oh, Charlie is cheap as fuck. We know this.
You guys do for us. Hit like, hit subscribe. We're available everywhere you can find a podcast. US Comics Cast. Do your part. Speaking about do your part, John, my dear brother, tell me when you're ready for me to start your time.
I mean, Charlie needs oxygen at this point on the sideline, so we may as well start my time.
Do it to it.
Back in the day, Charlie, this is pre-COVID days.
What's that? What's
I feel
pre-COVID?
like this is in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. This is where you gather up all the little feral-looking kids and you tell them before the big bang bang and the bye-byes and all that goofy storytelling. Back in the bang bang days, when I worked in a building where we collected other people who also were employed by the same individuals that employed me, I used to occasionally give a morning meeting. We gather up the ne'er-do-wells and the tryhards, and I'd throw them a little logic here and there. I wouldn't do it often, but occasionally I would throw a meeting. And anyone who has thrown said type meetings to kind of rally the troops, you have a little like a menu that you go through. Like, do I want to throw this meeting? Do I want to throw that meeting? Maybe this one, maybe that one. I had a particular favorite in that menu of little meetings that I would throw, and it was colloquially known as the strange but true meeting. And
I'm petrified right now.
The reason, and I'm actually surprised you were not privy to the meeting. The reason why I would throw this meeting is because, quick little backstory, we would tell individuals a methodology of how to accomplish their professional goals with our company. And a lot of what was said kind of flew in the face of common logic. We're like, we're in essence, we're saying, look, in the real world, 2 + 2 = 4, but here, 2 + 2 = 5.7. And it's really not that important that you really figure out or know or are told why. It's just true. It's strange, but it's true. And people would have, not all people, but some people, and I would even say most people, would have a hard time kind of, putting those things together. That sounds a little too goofy to be true. That sounds a little too strange, too foreign to be true, but it was true nonetheless. So what I would do as a giving type of personality like myself, I would throw them out some other nuggets of strange but true instances. And these were all, I told them all the same thing. These are all confirmable on your own time because, you're on the fucking public dollar here. Go Google it. Look that shit up. Do what you got to do. So I'll throw a couple of those just for example, right? So in Africa, the continent of Africa, where basically most, if not all, of the wild predators in your animal cracker box reside. Like, that's their neighborhood. That's where they do what they got to do. That's where they get their mail. That's where they chase around people. Of all those animals, I'll just throw it to you, Charlie. What would you say is the animal that is responsible for the most human deaths in Africa? Now, I will give you one caveat to that: non-reptile. Take all the little slithering reptiles off the table because there's a lot of
I,
poisonous motherfuckers.
uh,
But who do you think is responsible for most deaths
see,
in the continent of Africa?
just knowing that it's a trick, I'm gonna
It's
go.
not a trick. It just is what it
I'm
is.
just gonna go left, and I'm gonna say a giraffe.
Giraffe. Okay, well, you're ridiculous, and we're going to have to let you go. Thank you for coming in. You're not getting paid for the day or any of those vacation days.
That's
Ellis,
verbatim how working for that company went for me. Turns
Ellis
out
was
I'm bad at everything.
100% right off screen. Ellis indeed came with the right answer. Welcome to Jeopardy. But you did not phrase it in the form of a question, Ellis. No, not hungry, hungry hippos, because they didn't eat people, but they're just so surly hippopotamuses with those big, goofy mushroom teeth like Fantasia taught us that they have. Hippos cause the most deaths, human deaths.
I've seen Jumanji too. I'm not surprised.
Listen, I mean, you would think that the poor computer rendering would be enough to make you say, get the fuck out of here, hippo. But yeah, indeed it is hippos. But all these little factoids, again, they're strange but true. There's a company that will take your dead body and smush you up and reshape you and form you into a artificial coral reef and dump you into the ocean so life can renew and grow on whatever goddamn is left of you.
How quick can they
That's
get
a
here?
damn fact. It does, unfortunately, it does require Charlie you to spend a few more weeks with us at least. Dolphins, they do that old gag of sleeping with one eye open. A fucking dolphin. They always get like, oh, dolphins like humans. No, no, no. Dolphins are better than humans. They clearly swim better than us, but also as well as they are able to, in essence, use half of their brain at a time when they feel like it. And they say, okay, brain, you this half can go to sleep now. This other half, I'm gonna leave you on cruise control and I'm gonna take a nap, but I'm gonna have one eyeball open. That's a dolphin for you. These are all strange but true facts. And
Heads up.
the reason why I'm coming today with this topic is because of last week's salting massacre, where I just went off the fucking rails with this misinformation. I know you did, but you're a sick individual. All of this misinformation was flying around, in particular in my protected, walled in safe zone of Four Color Funny Books. Damn you, social media, damn you. So I thought I would pull a Charlie and steer into the skid and say, you know what? With all of that misinformation floating around comic book land, I'm going to go ahead and throw a little something different and hit you mother suckers with some truth bombs. Also, as well as could have worked their way into that morning meaning of strange but true.
I like it.
Charlie, Charlie, let me ask you this,
Yes.
because this is going to be this was not predetermined whatsoever. This is all new information as far as I know to Charlie. Charlie, what's the deal with kryptonite?
It makes Superman unwell.
Right? He does not do well
not
with
a fan.
kryptonite. Not a big fan. If you're going to come to the Kent's residence with a birthday or holiday present for Clark Kent, don't make it a chunk of kryptonite, no matter what color. We know that he won't fare well.
That is the Nutella. To me, that's like giving me Nutella. I don't
Damn
want it.
straight.
Keep your
Or
damn
me,
poison.
scrimps or penicillin. But Charlie, let me ask you this: where is kryptonite from?
Kryptonite is from his own planet, Krypton.
Wrong. Wrong.
I didn't know
Here's
that.
a truth bomb.
Oh shit.
Kryptonite. We will all, as huge Superman fans as I know we are, be learning by way of the ultra humanite, that son of a bitch. Kryptonite is not just. I should rephrase this.
This
Kryptonite is
bitch.
not
I need half a
just
point.
Kryptonite. You're not getting any credit. Kryptonite is the greatest quote unquote lie of all. Kryptonite is not just the remains of Krypton, which has worked its way through space to get. Yeah, but you know what, Ellis? That's like a synthetic diamond. It doesn't really. It's not worth shit.
There was a
Um,
Superman 4 reference on the episode, Chapter 2, Episode 43, the greatest episode of U.S. Comics Cast.
Eventually,
all
you knew it was
time.
going to happen. The Ultra Humanite declares Kryptonite to be the greatest lie of all, and we have just been. We spend a lot of minutes talking about Superman's son, Jonathan Kent, in essence, inheriting the mantle of Superman, and we all had the same conversation, mentally at least. Well, how the fuck is he inheriting a mantle? Does that mean that Clark Kent, Superman, is going to retire and hang him up? Is he going to enjoy his next 250 years, which I'm assuming he's going to live for, with Lois as long as she's got? No. This is actually the reason, because in this upcoming issue of Superman, he's going to throw down with Ultra Humanite. Lois is going to chip in and blast Ultra Humanite with a little bit of white Kryptonite. That's right, I said it. White Kryptonite is making its long overdue reappearance in the pages of Superman. She's going to hit the Ultra one with a little bit of that. And in those throes of the aftermath, he's going to say, Kryptonite is some bullshit. So Superman, together with the Authority, they're taking off, Charlie. Superman and the folks at the Authority are going to take off because they need. This is how important this is. They are going to take off and see what's the fucking deal with this quote unquote greatest lie of Kryptonite. So one can only wonder: are they looking into? Is it going to be like a Law and Order episode, a CSI situation?
Bum bum bum.
This is the reason why Superman has to go away for a while. This is what he said to Lois, quote unquote. He's taken off. He's got to go figure some shit out. And honestly, to me, I was like, this is kind of like the Superman Returns plot a little bit with fucking Brandon Roth.
She's going to come back with a different non-powered baby.
He's going to be all
Clark's
knocked
going
up.
to be pissed.
He's like, you are a fertile son of a bitch, huh?
What happened to your hairline, Lois?
Listen, it happens. Are your eyes two different colors? What is going on? So Superman and the Authority, they're heading off to War World to see what the hell is going on. But here again,
Bachelor Weekend.
Strange but true, Kryptonite is more than we have thought.
I don't want to hijack your topic. I just want to take a really quick second to jump up on my soapbox. I'm really sick of all of this changing thing for changing thing's sake. Kryptonite's green, and it can't be anything else because I'm the internet. Oh, why did Kryptonite existed before? I'm just a douchebag on Twitter? Fuck you, Twitter. Sorry.
Kryptonite is one of those things. Kryptonite, if I'm not mistaken, and I rarely am, Kryptonite was introduced for the first time on the Superman radio program. And it didn't work its way into the comic book pages for years after that.
But
they used that as a radio program device.
I don't want to have to explain to my kids what an allergy is. So if they see Superman being sick of kryptonite, I'm gonna have to explain.
I'm seeing where you're going with that one, Charlie. Well done. So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna throw a Charlie specific, strange, but true.
Yes, please.
Charlie, are you familiar with the not very often mentioned DC cinematic project, The Trench?
No, I don't think so. Oh, so, The Trench was going to be Black Manta's shit.
Well done. You did not form it. You didn't make it in the form of a question. Like Ellis, you get 0 points. It was indeed going to be, supposed to be, a secret Black Manta project. Now, I'll actually give Charlie a pass on that one because as I learned, just like everybody else, Charlie is a huge Black Manta fan. Like,
looks so
you're
cool.
the guy. You're the guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, but as a huge Black Manta fan, strange but true, did you know that our boy Black Manta is on his fucking proverbial water deathbed?
I did not know that.
Black Manta in the comics, he's checking out. They're like, oh, Black Manta, we can't let you go. Anybody but Black Manta. So they start doing a little tinkering. They start testing his stuff.
Is that like
Blood
just
test
me?
here, bone test there. And they determine, hey, Black Manta, you are suffering from some shit, which is a very rare reaction that only Atlanteans have. So strange but true. And for a huge Black Manta fan like Charlie, shocking, I'm sure, we are going to
Shaken
learn
to my goddamn core.
in the pages of Aquaman that Black Manta has Atlantean DNA.
I cannot believe we found that out because he had AHS.
He does
Awesome-
have a
Awesome
raging
helmet
case
syndrome.
of AHS. It's true.
Ellis
It's
gets
true.
to work for the company for one more season because that
Charlie,
was hilarious.
I'm going to race through my next two because
Yeah,
they're
you're
very
about
important.
halfway.
All right, that's not too bad. Much like Star Wars, as we had mentioned before, certainly we prior mentioned Dune with all these different iterations and not spin-offs, but side
Quests.
pieces. Stranger Things, a phenom on Netflix, as we like to call them, makes the sales of waffles went through the roof once Stranger Things, waffles and tabletop D&D games skyrocketed. Like if you
This
knew
11
Stranger
bitch
Things,
loves Egos. We gotta get some.
ooh boy, you get yourself a cheap synthetic yellow wig. You get yourself some fucking Egos, and you get yourself a tabletop D&D with a fucking 13-sided die. But Stranger Things has spun off into a lot of other properties. One of which, again, in much the Star Wars fashion, in novel form. Now, I'm not talking about the novelization of shit that we've already seen. I am talking about standalone novels.
Like the
that are
further
taking-
adventures.
Basically, yeah. So, in Stranger Things, Darkness on the Edge of Town, we learn a couple of little truth nuggets about everybody's favorite small town sheriff, Jim Hopper. Charlie, I'm assuming you didn't read it.
Mm-mm.
Would it surprise you and our viewership to learn that Jim Hopper was indeed once a homicide detective in New
Interesting.
York City?
What?
Yeah, strange but true. Those damn hippopotamuses are biting on your ass. Yeah, Jim Hopper. Now that being said, certain of these little truth nuggets, again, social media. This is not misinformation. This is some true shit. So knowing that Jim Hopper had time behind the badge in New York City, investigating the dirtiest of the dirties, fucking homicide detectives see the worst shit that humankind has to throw at them. Doesn't it make a little bit more sense now? This is what I love about like extended
Yeah.
properties. You want to talk about spin-offs? So you take a character like, I know that character. I know Jim Hopper. He's fucking he's like the devil baby guy running around all the time. Yeah, sure, I know this guy. No. The reason why he is who he is, the reason why he was able to, in essence, take like temporal fucking loops into other dimensions and goddamn monsters running around in your backyard and fucking where the hell is Barb? The reason why he was able to take it is because he's from the fucking mean streets of NYC, baby. What does Stranger Things have to throw at him that he hasn't seen?
Yeah, the Upside
on
Down
Fifth
was like
Avenue?
still better than It's like I've been to Ronkers and Fuck it. Who cares? Everything's all upside down and spooky. Who gives a shit?
He's like, have you been in Greenwich Village on Halloween? Have you seen that
You
parade?
want to talk about the freaks come out at night? Am I right?
That
Just
makes
goes
the upside
high-fiving
down
the
look
kids.
like fucking 4th of July on Main Street.
That's
Crazy.
true. That's true. You got 10 minutes left, so I don't know if this is gonna zig more.
Oh, it'll zig all right. This was my big one. And mainly because I have admittedly fallen down, tumbled down, jumped down. Like I did it to myself. I am deep down the mafia rabbit hole right now. We were talking about it the other day. I read.
You were that disappointed in Many Saints of Newark that you were like, I need to wash this
I'm
taste
like,
out
no,
of my
fuck
mouth.
these guys. I got something better. So you know what? Good point. Just to illustrate how disappointed Many Saints of Newark was, it required a Star Wars story to reinvigorate my faith in all of mafia-dom. No, but in all seriousness, I just reread Wise Guy, which was the book
Yes.
that basically it didn't inspire, but it was the basis of Goodfellas, which I one of my all-time favorite movies and pretty much everybody else's. So I read that and like all of the details that came like, oh, what about this? What about that? Great. I'm down the rabbit hole watching these like videos from like the Bull Gigante and fucking I can't help it. I'm watching all of these mafioso videos. Like I am all in. Forget about it. So I was very, very surprised when Star Wars took me further down that rabbit hole. Charlie, have you been reading the War of the Bounty Hunters series?
I have not yet. I've been buying it. Haven't read it yet.
Charlie, rectify that situation right quick, because I'm about to pull a Charlie and bury the fuck out of this motherfucker. War of the Bounty Hunters #5 is going to answer a question, strange but true, I know. Keep it on theme. A question that you didn't realize you had floating around in the back of your head. And that question is really for the events as they unfolded for the original trilogy up to and especially including Return of the Jedi. The galaxy is a big place, Charlie.
Not small.
How the fuck is it that Jabba, specifically Jabba the Hutt, a member of the Hutt crime family, has so much damn power? Like, honestly, maybe not to rival the Empire, but enough that, like, a fucking straight G like Boba is basically freelancing between the two parties. Clearly, he's getting paid by both, right? Am I wrong? No,
Not wrong.
So that question of like, I realize, fucking Jabba, he shops in like the Big and Husky Center, but he's carrying a lot of proverbial weight as much as the literal weight in the galaxy. The answer to that question, my friends and neighbors, can be found in War of the Bounty Hunters #5 on sale right now. I'll give you a little taste.
Yeah.
In between Boba's acquisition of Han Solo in carbonite and his delivery to Jabba the Hutt of the Hutt crime family, we come to learn in the comic book pages, which the movies couldn't do, that Hutt crime family was exactly that. Was a crime family, just like just like any of the fucking just like any of the crime
or
families.
whomever, yeah.
I mean, yes, but even bigger. Like
yeah.
This would be the equivalent of like a Corleone family. Like this is the size of the fucking crime family that they had going on. All Hutts, all big, sluggy,
all Hutts all the time,
monsters. So, but the power was spread out. They had a literal Hutt council, right? And it was determined that when Han's carbonite fucking body, it got snatched from the hands of Boba by the Empire. They decided, nah. You know what? This mother sucker, he's coming with us. And the Hutts looked at that in straight mafioso fashion. They're like, and this is disrespect on a family. So in particular, exactly, that's a pure translation. So specifically, Boku, the Hutt said, "Nah, man, this will not stand. This aggression will not stand." As he sipped a White Russian, and he said, "Nah, fuck that Empire. Like we're the Hutts. We got sway in this galaxy. They're just some bullshit wizards with fucking red swords. Nah. So the Hutts collectively decided, no, fuck that. We're not gonna be insulted like this by the Empire, no matter what. The fucking homeboy shooting lightning at his fingertips. So the Hutts went after the Empire. Now
That's
I say the
fucking
Hutts.
awesome.
I'm going to exclude one in particular.
Jabba was
fine,
like,
gentle.
I'm good.
Jabba was like, you know what? I'm gonna sit this one out, kids. So
I love the idea that like Jabba is Joe Pesci.
Yeah,
fuck that.
Not even Jabba would be like Henry Hill, basically.
Yes.
He's like, you know what? I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna see how this plays out. And instead, he's like taking a shower, and on the news, like, ladies and gentlemen, people think that it might be the biggest one in history, but the Hutts have indeed been wiped out by the Empire. And Jabba's like, those sons of bitches. Yeah, the fucking Empire, Charlie, wipes out
That is
the
awesome.
entire Hutt crime family, with the exception of Jabba. Now, again, what I
Fuck
forgot
you,
to mention,
fuck you, you're cool, fuck you, I'm out.
is
Vader
that when they were determining who was gonna have ownership of Han, it was at an auction, which is like the funniest thing ever. A Star Wars auction. It was at an auction, and when fucking everybody was like clamoring, Jabba was like, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna fucking step on any toes over here. I've seen what these fuckers can do. So Jabba was like the one person who sat back and kind of played it cool, just sucking down one of those frog people, had a bitch on a chain. You know, like Jabba does. He's a laid back cat. So the entire Hutt crime syndicate got wiped out, leaving only Jabba rather, which is the reason why when we pick up again in Return of the Jedi, Jabba is basically a fucking Don. He is the Don of the Hutt family.
Get me a Cadillac, that floating fucking barge.
He's like, give me 5 points on fucking on Tatooine, and whip up a couple of those frog cannolis because I'm a little hungry. It's the worst fucking Corleone accent of all time.
I loved it.
That is strange but true. Again, so worth check out. I mean, obviously, specifically, I'm referring to Bounty Hunters, War of the Bounty Hunters #5. But check out the series, especially if you're like Charlie and you own them and haven't read them. Shame on you.
I got a giant
It is
stack,
so
bro.
good, man. It is so good. I know time is expiring. Is there anything in particular that strikes you as like one of those little factoids that just kind of like nibble at your brain that just people don't know?
What I really love, specifically with comic books, is it allows like those questions. Like in the case of the Hutts, that was never a question I had. That's all so fucking new to me that I'm just so excited to dive in. But in IDW's amazing Ghostbuster run, they dedicated an issue to where the fuck was Winston in Ghostbusters 2 when the boys were on trial, because he wasn't helping digging the hole. So they wrote a whole 22-page great story where he's showing up to help the guys when they're in court, and like a ghost pops off and he's like, oh shit,
amazing.
Feet don't fail me now, I gotta bust this motherfucker. So the way that issue ends, and I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it's a fantastic issue from IDW, but the way the issue ends is like the boys kick open the door and they're like, we're back, we're the Ghostbusters. Yeah, Winston's there like covered in slime, busted the Scoleri brothers' mom, who was another ghost, and is just like, cool guys, everything went okay in there. And I just like, I eat shit like that up. Like anytime you can add to something.
Love that.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking so good. And anytime comics are able to do that, and you know, we kind of had comment.
It fills in the blanks. That's what's so beautiful about comic book world building, is that you can drop in little truth bombs, as I've coined tonight, little nuggies of detail that like just enrich some shit that you already dig. And that's just great. I mean, I can't think of an example truly where something was added to a property or whatever that I was already well invested to. I'm like, no, that you just ruined it for me. No, that doesn't happen.
What
Doesn't
is the
happen. So as creators,
Mandalorians? What is the Star Wars bullshit where they're like, let's give him a blood test? Ooh, you're extra Jedi-y.
you know, it's funny, Charlie. There's already rumblings of
Metachlorians.
of
is the word I was struggling with.
retconning the entire most recent trilogy. Don't make me do that to you.
Sorry.
If I gotta
do
do it to you, it'll break me up inside. I'll do it, but it's gonna break me up.
The last thing I'll say is it's not only reserved for comic books. All sorts of extra media can do it. We're getting fucking flashbacks of Anakin Skywalker, methinks, in Ahsoka's show.
100%.
Snips tweeting about it, getting in trouble, having to delete the tweet. I can't wait. A tweet that you will never have to delete, though, is about this show. U.S. Comics can only exist with support, and all we have for support are you pieces of hot and cold trash that join us week in and week out. You can share the video episodes. You can tell people to tune in live. You can participate when we're live. You can listen to just the audio, rate, comment, and subscribe. Apple, their review helps us the best, but review it wherever you're listening to it. For my dear brother, the Latin god himself, the CEO, the smoothest southern
not
mucker
an approved moniker. Not approved.
in the multiverse, dare I say. I, of course, am his humble quasi-assistant, Charlie Rivera. He's John. There's only one way that we end each and every episode of U.S. Comics. John, tell the lovely people how we do it.
So simple, but ooh, tasty as hell. Turn the power on. Then you gotta turn the volume up, and they gotta tune Bad Mary and open up the window wide and scream out into the night sky. Save me, space girl. We out.